Build a two-story house from cardboard. On a beautiful day, in my cozy little workspace, the morning light filtered through the window, illuminating my cluttered desk. That was the moment I decided to embark on a new project, building a mini house out of cardboard. It sounded simple, but behind it lay a story filled with humor, hard work, and unforgettable moments. The beginning, finding materials. Everything began with the search for materials. I visited every craft store in the city, from large stores to tiny stalls at the flea market. One day, while scouring for suitable cardboard, I encountered an old lady selling recycled items. She eyed me with a look of skepticism and asked, "What do you need the cardboard for?" "Well, I'm building a mini house out of cardboard," I replied, hoping she wouldn't think I was crazy. The old lady chuckled softly and handed me a stack of cardboard. "Can you do something magical with this?" she asked with a twinkle in her eye. Feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness, I took the cardboard home. The journey to find the perfect materials wasn't easy, but it was about to get even more interesting. My adventures in the craft store. Walking into the craft store, I felt like a kid in a candy shop. There were endless aisles of colored papers, glue, paints, and other materials. I was on a mission to find the best supplies for my project. As I reached for a bottle of premium glue, I overheard two employees talking. "Did you hear about the guy building a cardboard house?" one whispered. "Yeah, he's probably lost his mind," the other replied, snickering. I couldn't help but laugh at the irony. Little did they know, I was that crazy guy. Ignoring their comments, I grabbed the glue and a few other essentials and headed to the checkout. The flea market experience. My next stop was the flea market. It was a bustling place filled with vendors selling everything from antiques to fresh produce. I wandered through the stalls, looking for anything that could be useful. Suddenly, I spotted a stall with a variety of recycled materials. The old lady running the stall looked at me curiously. "What are you looking for?" she asked. "Cardboard," I said confidently. "Why on earth do you need cardboard?" she inquired. "I'm building a mini house," I explained. She burst into laughter, shaking her head. "You must be one of those creative types," she said, handing me a bundle of cardboard pieces. "Good luck with your house." The final pieces of the puzzle. After gathering all the materials, I felt ready to start my project. I had cardboard of various sizes, glue, paints, and a plethora of decorative items. Each piece of cardboard felt like a brick, waiting to be part of something special. As I left the flea market, the old lady's words echoed in my mind. "Can you do something magical with this?" I smiled, knowing that I was about to turn those ordinary pieces of cardboard into something extraordinary. Reflecting on the journey. The journey to find the perfect materials was filled with humorous encounters and a bit of skepticism from others. It taught me that creativity often requires persistence and a sense of humor. Looking at the stack of materials on my desk, I felt a sense of accomplishment and excitement for the next steps in my project. Assembly: the tale of the cardboard pieces. Back at home, I began assembling the cardboard pieces together. However, not everything went smoothly. As I was gluing one of the pieces, my cat, Pudding, suddenly leaped onto the table and knocked over the glue bottle, causing glue to spill everywhere. Pudding got glue all over her fur and ran around the house, turning the entire room into a sticky mess. I had to pause my work to wash the glue off Pudding and clean up the mess. Hilarious moments. The construction process continued with numerous challenges. Once, while I was trying to glue the roof, the small brush I was using got tangled in my hair. The sight of me struggling to free the brush from my hair made everyone in the house laugh out loud. Every time I think back on it, I can't help but laugh at myself. Another time, I was painting the house, and the phone rang unexpectedly. In a hurry to answer the call, I didn't notice that I had dipped my hand into the paint. When I returned, the entire table was covered with colorful handprints. Looking back, it seemed like I had accidentally created an abstract masterpiece. Unexpected challenges. As I started assembling the main parts of the house, I realized that cutting the cardboard to the right dimensions was no easy task. Each time I finished cutting, I found myself with an odd extra piece of cardboard. One day, I decided to use a larger ruler to ensure precise cuts. However, instead of helping me, it made things worse when I accidentally cut off a corner of the ruler. During all this, Pudding remained endlessly curious, constantly jumping onto the table to explore my grand construction. One time, she decided that the cardboard roof was the perfect spot to take a nap and immediately collapsed one side of the house I had just assembled. The scene of me chasing Pudding with the glue-covered roof in my hand was straight out of a comedy movie. After many days of hard work and endless laughter, the mini cardboard house was finally completed. It stood as a charming two-story house with a balcony adorned with vibrant red flowers, a small, cozy hammock on the side, and lush green potted plants decorating the surroundings. The house looked so lively and full of energy that it could easily be anyone's dream home. Looking back at the entire process, I couldn't help but laugh at the humorous moments I had experienced. This mini cardboard house wasn't just a craft project. It was a memorable journey filled with laughter and joy throughout its construction. The adventure of building the mini cardboard house brought me not only a finished product but also invaluable experiences. From the search for materials to the assembly and the countless humorous and unforgettable moments, every part of the process created a colorful and emotional story. Now, the mini cardboard house stands not just as a model but as a symbol of perseverance, creativity, and joy in my work. After many days of hard work and endless laughter, the mini cardboard house was finally completed. It stood as a charming two-story house, complete with intricate details that brought it to life. The balcony was adorned with vibrant red flowers, carefully crafted to add a pop of color against the earthy tones of the cardboard. Each flower petal was meticulously cut and painted, bringing a sense of realism to the miniature garden. On the side of the house, a small, cozy hammock swung gently, inviting anyone to imagine a relaxing afternoon nap. This hammock, made from a fine mesh of strings, was one of the trickiest parts to assemble. It required precision and patience, but seeing it in place brought immense satisfaction. Surrounding the house were lush green potted plants, each one adding a touch of nature to the scene. The plants were created from tiny pieces of green paper, shaped and glued to mimic real foliage. The house looked so lively and full of energy that it could easily be anyone's dream home. The windows, with their delicate frames, opened to reveal tiny curtains inside, made from scraps of fabric. The front door, with its tiny doorknob, looked inviting and warm, as if welcoming guests to step inside. Looking back at the entire process, I couldn't help but laugh at the humorous moments I had experienced. From the mishaps with Pudding to the colorful handprints on the table, every challenge and every laugh added to the charm of the project. This mini cardboard house wasn't just a craft project. It was a memorable journey filled with laughter and joy throughout its construction. Each step, from cutting the cardboard to gluing the pieces together, brought its own set of challenges and triumphs. There were moments of frustration when a piece didn't fit quite right, and moments of elation when a difficult part finally came together. Every bit of the house, from the tiny shingles on the roof to the detailed railings on the balcony, was a labor of love and creativity. miniature cardboard house with garage DIY. On a bright and sunny day, I decided it was the perfect time to embark on a new craft project, constructing a miniature house from cardboard. I glanced over at the stack of cardboard boxes piled up in the corner of my room, and an unusual surge of excitement washed over me. The seemingly mundane pieces of cardboard appeared to me as if they were precious building blocks, just waiting to be transformed into something extraordinary. The idea of turning these humble materials into a charming mini house filled me with anticipation and creative energy. Finding materials. I set out on a mission to find the perfect materials for my project. My first stop was a series of craft stores, where I meticulously sifted through various types of cardboard. I was looking for pieces that were sturdy enough to hold the structure of the house, but not so rigid that they would be difficult to work with. To my dismay, each store seemed to offer either cardboard that was too flimsy or too dense, neither of which suited my needs. Feeling a bit discouraged and running out of options, I decided to explore a small recycling shop located at the end of the street. The shop had a quaint, old-fashioned charm, with its shelves lined with an eclectic mix of discarded items and vintage trinkets. As I stepped inside, I was greeted by the sight of neatly organized piles of recycled materials, each with its own history and character. The elderly shopkeeper, a kind-faced woman with a gentle demeanor, observed me with a curious glance. Her weathered eyes sparkled with interest as I approached her. "May I help you find something?" she asked in a soft, inquisitive tone. "I'm looking for cardboard for a project," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady and hoping she wouldn't think my idea was too outlandish. "I'm planning to build a miniature house." The shopkeeper's face lit up with a warm smile. "Oh, that sounds wonderful. Let me see what I can find for you." She led me to a corner of the shop where a collection of cardboard was neatly stacked. With a nod of approval, she handed me a sizable stack of cardboard pieces. "These should work perfectly. Good luck with your project, and I can't wait to see what you create." Her encouragement and the quality of the cardboard she provided renewed my enthusiasm. I left the shop feeling optimistic and inspired, ready to turn the cardboard into something truly special. Returning home with my precious materials, I began to map out my project. The first step was to measure and cut the pieces of cardboard to the right dimensions. With careful precision, I used a ruler and a craft knife to create perfect pieces for the house. The process was smooth and satisfying as I laid out the pieces and imagined how they would come together. Everything was going according to plan until my cat, Pudding, decided to make an entrance. With a sudden leap, Pudding landed squarely on my workbench. Before I could react, it knocked over a bottle of glue that I had placed there. The glue spilled out in a gloppy mess, coating Pudding's fur and creating a sticky pool on the table. In a frantic flurry, Pudding bolted from the scene, racing around the house with glue dripping from its fur. The glue left a trail of sticky footprints on the floor, adding an unexpected challenge to my task. I had no choice but to pause my work to chase down Pudding and clean up the mess. As I attempted to catch the now frantic cat, I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of the situation. Pudding's wild antics, combined with the sticky glue, turned my tidy workspace into a chaotic scene. I managed to catch Pudding and carefully clean the glue off its fur, all the while marveling at how this project was turning out to be more complex than I had anticipated. This experience was a humorous reminder that building the mini house was not just a simple task of cutting and gluing. It was an adventure filled with unexpected surprises and challenges. Humorous challenges. Every time I thought things were finally going smoothly, another humorous situation would arise. For instance, while attempting to attach the roof, the small brush I was using for painting suddenly got tangled in my hair. I struggled to untangle the brush from my hair, all the while my hands were coated in glue, making my family burst into laughter at the sight. It was a comical struggle that added an unexpected twist to the project. Another memorable incident occurred while I was adding the final touches. The phone rang, and in my rush to answer, I didn't notice that my hand had dipped into a paint can. When I returned to my workspace, I was greeted by a table covered in handprints of paint. The scene was so absurdly funny that I couldn't help but laugh at my own clumsiness. The vibrant paint marks on the table were a colorful testament to the chaos of the process. Completing the house. After several days of hard work, my mini cardboard house was finally complete. It was a charming two-story creation, featuring a balcony adorned with flowers, a quaint little garden in the front, and meticulous details down to every corner. As I admired my finished project, I felt a profound sense of pride and satisfaction. The effort and time invested had truly paid off, and the house stood as a testament to my perseverance and creativity. Building the cardboard house provided me with a treasure trove of unforgettable memories. From sourcing materials and assembling the house to the humorous and challenging moments, the entire experience was a vibrant tapestry of emotions and stories. This mini house was not just a craft project, it symbolized dedication, creativity, and the joy of the process. It reminded me that sometimes, it is the difficulties and challenges that create the most memorable and cherished experiences. Cute little house night light from cardboard with your own hands. Twa luan by Kwan Hut Bioyan Hung Goe Nako Tich. Voi Nim Dam Mi Sang Tao Va Mong Muan Bien and Hung Vat Lu Thong Thuong Ton Tok Pham Ne Thuet. Twa de Quiet Din Tao Ra Mo Tin Goe Na Mini to at DP2 and Hung Tam Cardboard Don John. One day, as I was cleaning up around the house, I noticed several pieces of cardboard lying around. Instantly, an idea sparked in my mind. Why not transform these ordinary pieces of cardboard into a charming little fairy tale house, much like the ones I used to read about in storybooks? The thought filled me with excitement and determination. I decided then and there that I would embark on this creative journey. The first step was to plan and sketch out the design of the house. I knew that having a clear vision would be crucial for the success of this project. I spent countless hours poring over various designs and drawing inspiration from the fairy tale houses that had always fascinated me. I meticulously sketched each element, from the shape of the roof and the design of the windows to the quaint little steps leading up to the front door. Every detail mattered, and I wanted to ensure that the house captured the whimsical essence of a fairy tale home. I envisioned a cozy, inviting structure with charming features that would make anyone feel like they had stepped into a magical world. With my sketches in hand, I gathered my tools, a ruler, a pencil, and a sharp knife for precise cutting. I began by measuring and marking the cardboard pieces according to my design. Each cut needed to be accurate to ensure that the pieces would fit together seamlessly. I measured the height and width of the walls, the angles of the roof, and even the dimensions of the tiny windows and doorways. As I carefully cut the cardboard, I could see my vision slowly starting to take shape. The process required patience and precision, but it was incredibly rewarding. Each piece of cardboard transformed from a simple, flat sheet into a crucial component of my miniature house. I paid close attention to the structural integrity, ensuring that the house would be sturdy and balanced. I double-checked my measurements and cuts, making adjustments as needed to maintain accuracy. This meticulous approach was essential, as even the slightest error could affect the overall look and stability of the house. Throughout this phase, I felt a deep sense of satisfaction and creativity. It was amazing to see how an idea born from a simple observation could evolve into a detailed, tangible plan. I knew that this was just the beginning, and there were many more steps to go, but I was eager and excited for the next phases of construction and decoration. Every day after school, I dedicated my free time to assembling the pieces of cardboard together. I set up a special workspace in my room where everything needed for the project was neatly organized. At first, the house was just a collection of separate pieces, but as the days went by, it gradually began to take shape. I started by assembling the walls. Each piece of cardboard was firmly glued together, ensuring the corners were perfectly aligned with no gaps left in between. Once the walls were complete, I moved on to the roof. This was the most challenging part as it required high precision to ensure the roof would cover the house properly without any misalignment. Every evening, after finishing my homework, I returned to my little house project. I felt a surge of excitement and happiness each time I saw the house progress a little bit more. From assembling the larger parts like walls and roof to adding smaller details like windows and doors, each small step was an achievement I took pride in. As the house began to take clearer form, I started to see the results of my persistence and effort. The cardboard pieces were no longer just scattered parts, but had transformed into a solid and beautiful structure. Every time I looked at my house, I felt more motivated to keep going, eagerly anticipating the day it would be completed. Once the basic structure of the house was completed, I moved on to the decorating phase. This was the part one was most looking forward to as it allowed me to truly express my creativity. I used paint to color the house, choosing warm and natural tones to create a cozy and inviting feel. The walls were painted a creamy white, while the roof was given a dark brown hue, creating a contrasting yet harmonious look. Next, I used glue and natural materials like moss and dried grass to add a touch of realism to the house. I carefully applied these materials around the base and on the roof to mimic the look of a real, lived-in home surrounded by nature. I even crafted tiny flower pots from clay and painted them to place on the front steps of the house, adding a splash of color and charm. This phase required a lot of patience and attention to detail, but it was incredibly rewarding. Each decorative element brought the house to life, making it more than just a cardboard structure but a miniature world full of character and warmth. The entire process, from the initial idea to the final touches, was a journey of creativity, perseverance, and immense satisfaction. The process of building the cardboard house was not only a test of my creativity and patience, but it also taught me many valuable lessons. Throughout the project, I learned the importance of perseverance and not giving up in the face of challenges. There were moments when things didn't go as planned, pieces didn't fit perfectly, the paint didn't dry as expected, or the structure seemed unstable. Each of these obstacles could have easily discouraged me, but instead, they became opportunities for growth and learning. Every time I encountered a setback, I reminded myself that difficulties are just part of the journey. I realized that with determination and passion, any problem could be solved. For instance, when the roof didn't align properly, I reevaluated my measurements and tried different methods until it fit perfectly. When the paint didn't give the desired effect, I experimented with different shades and techniques until I achieved the look I envisioned. This project also taught me the value of attention to detail. Each small element, from the placement of the windows to the texture of the walls, required careful consideration and precision. This meticulous approach not only improved the final outcome but also enhanced my skills in planning and execution. Additionally, I learned to embrace creativity and think outside the box. Using everyday materials like cardboard to create something beautiful encouraged me to look at the world differently. It showed me that with a bit of imagination, ordinary things could be transformed into extraordinary works of art. When the house was finally completed, I looked at my creation with immense pride. It wasn't just a house made of cardboard. It was a testament to my hard work, creativity, and perseverance. Every detail, every small component, reflected the effort and dedication I had put into this project. Seeing the finished house, I felt a deep sense of accomplishment. It was a tangible representation of my ability to overcome challenges and bring my ideas to life. This experience reinforced my belief that with determination and passion, anything is possible. I hope this story will inspire others who have small dreams tucked away in their hearts. It's a reminder that no matter how simple or humble the materials or ideas may seem, they can be turned into something beautiful with effort and love. Just as I transformed cardboard into a fairy tale house, anyone can turn their dreams into reality with persistence and creativity.